Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lune, and I hope you're well, and if you're not, I hope you are well soon. I really do. So today, I'm doing a reading. I haven't really been on in a little bit, again, because I've had a lot going on, but I was thinking about what I wanted to do, and I was like, what am I going to film? And then I just really had this feeling like, oh, I'll do a reading. I brought like one deck of cards with me. I'm on vacation right now, so I'm in a different place. That's why it's a little bit like, where is this? I don't know. You'll never know. Only I know. So, we're gonna pull some cards. Might read out of the little booklet, or just see what comes through. So, yeah. Ooh, okay. So, I'm gonna talk about some things that I saw thus far on my trip that are gonna have to do with that card that I just pulled out. So, all right, what do we need to hear right now? That one. One more for now. This one. Okay. Let's see. So we have Bee Spirit, Prosperity. We have Focus, Wizard of the Woods. And then we have Enchanted Fern Grotto, Refuge. So it's really interesting because first I'm going to talk about the bee, right? Because since I got here, I saw like this giant mural on a wall when I was walking, and it had a bee on it. And I have bee earrings on right now, if you can tell. And then I also was at the beach yesterday, and there were two bees in the water, and I picked them up to save them from dying in the water. And I was like, this is really weird, because I put on my bee earrings, I picked up these bees and saved them from the water, and then I saw the bee mural, like in that order, in the same day. So that's a sign to me, especially now that I'm picking out Bee Spirit with Prosperity. To me, it feels like right now there's a shift in the focus. There's a shift in the focus. There's a shift in the wind, almost, of what we're all focusing on and what is really important right now to us. I don't know if you just heard that, but I think someone sneezed in the background. No matter where I go, there's always sounds in my videos. It's like I can't get away from it. It's fine. But yeah, Bee Spirit, Prosperity. It feels like there's really a new cycle starting right now. Like a completely new cycle. One that most people probably, if you're watching this, you haven't experienced before. It's pretty new to you. Maybe you feel it and you know it's happening like on an intuitive level, but you haven't really fully seen like physical manifestation of it, or it's slowly happening but in increments. I don't know, I feel like most of you are at the point where you just don't really focus too much on how things are going to happen anymore. You're just kind of like, well, whatever happens is going to happen, and that's just what it is. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good viewpoint to have, because life is basically like that. Anything can happen. It can go any way, any direction. And we don't really have full control over what happens. We have some control. We have some focus that we can take to direct the direction in our lives that we wish to go, want to go. But there are always going to be external factors that play into that, that you kind of have to accept over time, just exist. And when you accept, the prosperity can come in a lot easier. What you want can actually come in a lot easier when you start believing that it's possible, despite everything that maybe made you feel that it wasn't possible. So it seems like there's a shift in focus in this new cycle to letting go of the things that just don't feel real anymore, don't feel right. Maybe this is something that I was getting to, is maybe in the past you played into societal norms and societal expectations and societal narratives of you have to do this to be able to have this. You have to, be this way to be lovable. You have to have this job to be successful. You have to do this, do that to be worthy of anything. Not true at all, obviously. But the whole point is that nothing can take away your inherent value. Absolutely nothing. Things can't even really add to it, not truly, because you are literally perfect. And I bet when you hear that, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not saying like you're perfect as in like the society's version of perfect. I'm talking about you are perfect as a human being. Because human beings are perfectly imperfect. We are literally designed to be imperfect. And that's how nature is. Nature isn't perfect. Why would we put ourselves on a pedestal of being perfect when nature itself is not even perfect? And even in that, nature is imperfectly perfect. It's beautiful. Like I was talking earlier with my family about, so I went to the Atlanta Aquarium like a few years back, and they have this giant whale shark. Gigantic whale shark. It's so beautiful. If you ever can go. It's beautiful. But I just was telling them, I'm like, when I was there, I just saw this giant whale shark swimming over me, and I felt so small. And it's like you realize that a lot of these things that people say matter, they don't matter at all. Strip away modern society, and what do you have left? You have people, you have nature, you have animals. That's it. That's what we are. All of these other things we created and structured into different narratives and different realities and existences. The modern narrative of like, you have to have a house like this, you have to have that job, you should work in AI, whatever, I don't freaking know. I'm just making up random examples. You have to, start this type of business. You have to be spiritual in that way. You have to get that surgery done so that you can look like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but no, like that's not what humans are. Humans are not meant to be these Barbie doll playthings that conform to look like a specific thing. There's a reason that we all look so different. There's a reason that we are all different personality-wise, based on our life experiences. We're not meant to be the same. If we were meant to be the same, wouldn't we have been born the same? Like, it just doesn't really make logical sense, does it? So what I'm trying to say is that's the shift. That was a very long out explanation of that's the shift. From playing into these bigger narratives that were created out of pain and out of illusion. And it's not that they don't serve a purpose, they do, but it's you individually specifically are at a point where you're not really in that anymore. You're like, okay, I used to believe this, I was playing into it, and sometimes it still happens, and you're like, oh, why am I thinking this way, that I have to do this to be worthy? Well, you really don't, and you do know that now. There may be some subconscious things that are still there that you need to work through. I know that I have that. I think most people have that, and it's really hard to work through, but you're at the point where you're realizing, you're like, okay, I see this stuff for what it is. I know that it's not true, even if it feels really true, because so many people believe it's true at the same time. But just because people say it's true or believe it's true doesn't mean it is. We know that beliefs are variable. We know that realities and perceptions are variable. So one reality is not the absolute reality. And I think that's what causes distress for people, is because they think that this one reality that they're seeing and that they're experiencing and that they're around has to be the true one because it's the one that they're around the most. That's conditioning them. Conditioning is seeing one thing over and over again to the point where your brain becomes programmed and thinks like, oh, that must be reality because we're seeing it so much. That's not the case. That happens with social media. The more you consume content that pushes a certain narrative or a certain aesthetic or a certain standard, the more you are going to think subconsciously that that is reality. rather than physical real life reality that you are actually living in. So I will say that there's some caution that needs to be considered with the digital world. I know from my own experience, it can be a shit show if you were not careful. So yeah, that's something to be aware of. But yeah, so the shift. Oh my gosh. It's really interesting though too, because it's like now that you're getting out of these illusions and you're like truly seeing them for what they are and they're not really impacting you as much, like dang, I can actually be free. Like I don't need to be in this reality that I never asked for. What? Like it's almost puzzling at first, right? Because you're so used to having been in that when you're not in it anymore, you feel like a little alien. And it's like you go out into the world and you see all these people that are still in those realities and you're like, oh my gosh, I used to be there. And not in like a condescending way, but like you used to experience that too. And maybe sometimes you still fall into it because it's such a strong collective consciousness thinking this way about life. So yeah. And then the focus, so I have the focus, there's a change in the focus. So you're focusing on things that actually matter now. Whoa, crazy, right? You're focusing on your own well-being, your real life, your interactions with people in front of you, focusing on what spiritual concepts really feel resonant with you and ones that really feel limiting or incomplete. That's something that I have really touched on a lot, is that there's almost like this infinite search for the truth, but I've really realized that there is no one truth. And I don't even have to study every religion on this planet to know inherently that every religion is just an iteration of the divine. It's just a specific viewpoint of the divine that people follow, and there's nothing wrong with it. It becomes a problem when people use it against others, thinking, if you don't think the way I do, if you don't believe what I do, then there's something wrong with you. That's when it becomes toxic. So yeah, so you're shifting your focus to things that actually matter, really becoming more solid in your beliefs and understanding the duality and the non-duality together, because duality does it does exist, right? Light, dark, whatever you want to call it. But you start to notice that the light and the dark, the reason it's non-duality is because they play into each other. They fuel each other. The dark, this is going to be kind of morbid, but I was reading a book and I read it like a while back. It was like a book, but it's about a serial killer. Okay, it really is. And it's interesting because she was a moral now was it nihilism, moral nihilism, nihilistic view of where people think like there's no right or wrong, whatever. Anyway, it's like she believed that her motivation for, and I'm not condoning killing, I'm literally just using this as an example, so please don't, yeah, you already know, like whatever you do, that's your responsibility anyway, but I'm just not promoting it. I'm just talking about a book, putting that out there. But in the book, there's the serial killer. Her motivation, she truly believes that her being a murderer is like necessary. Like her doing that, being a killer, is literally necessary because this is strange, but it's necessary because it causes fear in people that then bring them together. So I'm not saying that murder is necessary, but I'm saying that the darker side of things do bring people together. This is the integration of the shadow brings the light, if that makes sense. I feel like if you're watching this, it will make sense to you, even if it's on like an intuitive like download like level where you're just like, oh, that makes sense. I can't explain why, but it does. It's for you if that's the case right now. But it's like you understand that non-duality and duality, they do play into each other, and light and dark, they have a place together. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's collaborative, and it's a teacher. It's a lesson, but not just a lesson, it's just a way of being. It's literally just existence itself. Existence and non-existence eternally playing together. And it's really interesting. And then the last card I got is Refuge, which is kind of cool. So it feels like right now it's like everybody's taking stock of what is really true. What is really real for you? What actually feels right? What doesn't? And what are you still holding on to that you know you don't actually believe anymore? Things that you were taught to believe, or you just accepted because, again, you are around it all the time, or you thought that that was reality because it's the reality that others were showing you. But you're coming to this place, this refuge of your own inner being. Your own refuge is really you and the divine. Like, that's your refuge. So whenever you are looking for direction, clarity, trying to figure things out, going within is where to go. To go within first, because you know better than anyone else about your own reality, because you're the one living it. Your reality is yours. Yours to create, yours to live, yours to manipulate, and not in a bad way. Bad, anyway, whatever. It's that inner sovereignty and that recognition that your life is your own. That's where your freedom lies, right? Like, knowing that your life is your own, and that the way that people see things is the way that they see things. And I've honestly found it really strange. You see, like, people, right? Like, okay, here's an example. So this video is really long. I kind of love this because I haven't made a video in a little bit. But okay, I'm getting sidetracked. The example. So imagine you are a child, right? And you're growing up in a family, and one of your parents, like, they really feel that getting a certain type of job, like, say you have to be a doctor, a lawyer to be, like, successful, like, that's the way you should go because that's, like, the best chance at life. Like, they genuinely believe that, right? They were taught that, they just, like, started thinking it, whatever, but they genuinely, like, that's where you have to go to be successful. You have to do that job. And then the child is like, okay, so that's what I have to do to be happy. That's what I have to do to be successful. So they go after it. And then over time, they start to realize, like, this doesn't feel right, though. So then it becomes this battle of, this doesn't feel right versus, well, this is what my parent, the person that I trust and love, says is real. So there's a point of contention in time eventually where it's like you have to look at your own motivations and the motivations of others and your reality and the reality of others and see where they don't match up. Maybe that child genuinely does love being a doctor, so it happens to match up with this view that this other person have of, like, being a doctor is great, I want to be a doctor, you should be a doctor too. Maybe that child does want to be a doctor, and so it works out. But there are other times where maybe the child doesn't want anything to do with medicine, doesn't want to be a lawyer, whatever. Maybe they want to work in environmental science. Maybe they want to be a veterinarian medicine in a different way. Maybe they want to be a dancer, like, a musician. Maybe they want to do something that their parents genuinely don't think is successful or sustainable or the way to live correctly according to their viewpoint. So that becomes a point of contention. That's where it's a little difficult. It's like, well, how do I separate my reality from someone else's reality when I've been so entangled in it for so long? And I can tell you it's not easy, but that's why you have to go inside yourself and to the divine for guidance, because if you are just going based off of surface level, like, well, this is what I want and this is what they want me to do, you're not going to get anywhere, because you're probably going to give in to what they want you to do. The logical surface level stuff of, like, well, yeah, being a doctor does pay more money, whatever. Like, but it's not about the surface level stuff. It's deeper than that. And if your life is going to go in the direction that your soul and your spirit feels is the right direction, you will have everything you need as you go along down that path, but you're going to doubt it on a surface level thing because you're trying to match up with someone else's view of something. And then you fall short for yourself. You hold yourself back by doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna go now because I hear people. But I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys are well, and if you're not, I hope well soon. And bye. I hope this was a good message. And I really wish I could film longer, but I have to go because I hear people and they're gonna interrupt my video. Okay, bye.